What? Don't know why it said paid promotion on there. Oh, cool. That's it. So that's better. Don't know why I showed that full screen. This isn't paid promotion. I'm literally reviewing this because I feel like it. Yeah, I don't even know if Leehom Wang knows who I am. Welcome to the live stream. We're just going to give it a few minutes just so people can come if they want to. And we'll just go from there. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. I am, because I get to review this album. It's been a long time coming, you know, reviewing his music. But I'm glad to have the opportunity to do so. We're going to give it a few minutes, and then once it gets to 5:05, my time, I don't know what it is for you, but another couple of minutes we're going to start. And hopefully people enjoy the review. You know? But yeah. Scheduled? Are we live? Hopefully we're live. Oh, well, it's okay. Don't know why I have that up. There we go. That's better. So we're going to go through each 10 of these tracks, starting with, what's the first one? The first one is Beside the Plum Blossoms, apparently. Lyrics by Asheen, composition by Leehom Wang. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time, eh? Looking forward to that. So, I'm suspicious of, I'm innately suspicious of when, like, there's no one in a chat for, like, an artist who I know there's at least one person out there that's mildly interested in them, you know what I mean? Because I know that, like, a lot of the views come after the stream, which is cool. And this isn't a woe is me kind of pity party or anything like that. I'm literally just saying that sometimes I don't trust that YouTube's, like, scheduled a live stream or that things are alive or things are okay. So I like to kind of wait until there's someone in the chat, and then we're good to go. Yeah, I know, right, Martin? We're finally doing Leehom Wang almost 2 years after I started doing these. Thanks to all of you who kindly, hang on, I'll make this big. Yeah, so you guys can see that. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's nice to have finally gotten around to his stuff because he's a good man. He's a good man. With his music, you know, like I like his music from what I've heard so far. But yeah, we may as well get started with the first track again, which is Beside the Plum Blossoms. So we're going to switch to listening mode, and we're going to listen to each of the tracks off of this album from start to finish. And yeah, we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. What do we have in this record? Interesting album start. Oh, hang on. I should probably also introduce the album to start. So this album is titled Heroes of Earth. Apparently this is what this album is titled. It is titled Heroes of Earth. So hopefully Wikipedia has got transcription correct. This is Leehom Wang's album, Heroes of Earth. We will continue with the song now. Those are orchestral instruments, those traditional elements are great. We could probably do some lyrics as well. There we go. The falsettos are kind of unusual. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, I can kind of pick the synths and the drums and everything like that. I mean, like, his vocal style is kind of relaxed sounding. I'm not sure what he's saying, and we're going to listen through the lyrics at the end. But yeah, he's got a fairly relaxed vocal style, And it works well with the smoothness of some of those synth elements. Relatively simple composition, it's like a lot of different ideas layered on. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Boom, bum, 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 bum. Rolling on that root note for most of the harmony there. You know, it's fine. It's simple, easy to follow along to. I think it's the textures of those little sort of high fluttery synths and the cymbal clashes and everything like that that make it. Because I'm not sure where this is in Leehom Wang's career, like how many tracks they've done by this point. Panning of the vocals on the side is kind of dope as well. There's like parallels between this and modern hip hop where you have like the vocals on the side. There's like a kind of a chord note or like a whole note accent. And that hey oh, you know, I'm assuming this would probably be more impactful if you understood the language natively. Percussion with the hi-hats is interesting, lots of 8th and 16th note variations there. It's testament to the quality of the mixing as well, because you're getting all these elements notched nicely in the frequency spectrum. Oh, so it's got some historical context, Martin Wang. Thank you very much. I was kind of wondering if that was the case with the traditional elements within it. A lot of the stuff I've heard from Leehom Wang has been for the more futuristic sort of synths and vocal effects and everything like that. So it's nice to kind of hark back to these sort of things. Is that why you've got the kind of Chinese operatic vocals in the background as a sub-layer? So that you can hear them clearly and kind of interact with those and hear the parallels between the different eras? It's a nice marriage of different elements there from the traditional to the contemporary. What is that instrument? What is that instrument there? Can someone give me the name of that in the chat, please? Because I'm curious about what that is. Is it like a tiny gong or something like that? Oh, he's a fantastic rapper, isn't he? Holy crap, he's amazing. That was incredible flow there. I could kind of see it as it slowly sped up, but I didn't expect to sort of depart from the original motif so quickly. It's a great choice here because it shows his vocal ability very early on into the album in regards to the rapping. The clean vocals are fine, and it'll be interesting to see what he does with more sort of space to use his head and chest voice and everything like that. But I'm very, very happy with it so far. So that's a good beginning. I can understand why you like the start, Martin. It makes a lot of sense. But lyrics time. This song is inspired by the Peony Pavilion, a play written by Tang Xiansu that recounts a love story between Du Linyang and Liu Mingmei. Mayday did a new arrangement of the song during their recent JRI Blue stop at Shanghai. Okay. Loving to the death is no longer a trend. Oh, so it's kind of it's a comparison to like how quickly you fall in love with someone and then kind of throwing that away. Is that it? Let me love you so deeply, so far, and so classical. I like the hark back to the poetry that used to have ancient times there and kind of comparing to life nowadays, at least in the mid 2000s, you know. Past waits for a future chance. Mingmei and Lin Yang return as a spirit. Time is consumed me, turn my hair silver. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm starting to get the hang of it. Only wait for the day when peonies bloom. Let the legend forever be known by people. Let ordinary people be touched when they truly understand. Love? Oh, yeah, okay. Originated from the Tang poem, meaning how emotions can't be severed or made sense of. Let this be epic, be recounted for you. Let me love you so deeply, so far, and so classical. So is it trying to depart from the fragility of modern day love and trying to kind of harken back to where things were more sort of like kind of wholesome? Or is it lamenting it? But nonetheless, I think it's a great start. I think that Leehom Wang sang really well. The lyrics again is Paul7931. Thank you for your comments there, for letting me know that it was the lyrics were by the Mayday person, you know, the lead singer of Mayday. So that's great. It's nice to hear them crossing over. But yeah, that's track 1. We've got track 2 now. What is track 2? It's a flower field mistake, the bride napping. So we're going to continue with this. Let's go. Yeah, no, I couldn't find the rap lyric, dude. Like, I don't... Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know where it is. I mean, like, we can potentially try and find it. I don't know. But I'm looking. I've been looking for them. Oh, for fudge. Hey, how can I do this? How can I do this? Oh my gosh. My golly gosh. Wikipedia. What are you doing? Okay, is there like is there lyrics for this part? I mean, beside the plum blossoms. The rap park. Well, that's great. I mean, okay. So maybe this is it here. We'll have a look through this, right? We'll go back to lyrics time. He was a toad to the palace, not a Mayban, but a Lubian. I don't know. Here we go. I don't know why when love appears, but in real life it can only be in dreams. The romance described the peony is credible, especially for new and new humans. Okay. How can children have time to sit and watch the Peony Pavilion and spend 19 hours singing? Audiences are old. Time is money to grasp before you run out of breath. Oh, okay. Everything in my world is getting more and more convenient, but strangely, there is still no way to find love. So yeah, I think that Leehom Wang laments the fact that he doesn't have that kind of wisdom to be able to take control of time in the way that the people in the story do. He wishes that he had enough time to love someone that much. So it's kind of comparing it to how people these days, you know, we just don't have enough time to, we don't have time to do whatever because we're so busy and so overproductive and so stretched. I think that's what this rap does. To be clear, I thought the rap section was fantastic. I thought, you know, that was probably the highlight for me of that track, was hearing him rap those bits and track number at the end of track number 1. The theme was fine. I didn't mind it at all. But we've got track number 2 now. We've had a look through the rap parts. Again, I think it's one of those things where that rap, especially because I don't know how difficult it is to rap like that. I know that he's going quickly, but I don't know whether the lyrics and consonants or the different inferences are difficult or not because I don't speak the language. But yeah, track number 2, the flower field mistake. Putting that oh, we did like the JHL woo thing. Okay, some soul kind of R&B-ish kind of elements here. With what is it? Pulled like violin strings. Is it an erhu or something like that? The violin strings. I like the combination of that the extended harmonies there. Some parallels to sort of There's so much going on in this track. There's really no filler at all. I mean, like they're talking in this track, in a way where like he's got a similar vocal style there with the clean vocals. It kind of reminds me a lot of like the kind of R&B from like the late 2000s, early 2010s, early 2000s in the West. We loved our sort of like really full sounding soaked bass parts as well, with the tight little drums and the little dum-dum-dum-dums going around the sides there. I mean, I'm going to draw parallels to like stuff I've heard from like JHL and stuff like that, but you can tell the difference between the two. You know, that part there is more sort of traditional in like the regards to the melodies I've heard. Again, great auto painting of those little tom hits, how they can arrive from the left to the right. I think that's a fantastic choice because you really do, it just kind of send you along. It kind of peaks your interest to go over the sides there. Great little way to retain it. I mean, like in that little sort of instrumental solo in the middle here is fantastic. It's great to not be so paranoid about needing to go straight back into the next verse. You know, because like often in tracks like this, you'll have people go, oh, we need to have like just the normal sort of theme, give it a bit more of what they used to, and then new story. But we just had a break here with that alternate lead element there, and it was just so refreshing. It's like a gasp of fresh air. Bell trees are always welcome at the start of a new section. Cool response there on the sides for the vocals. The portamento on those bass parts is phenomenal. I like how they fluctuate. You know, it's such a great, cool sound though. It's so present. It would have taken a long time for them to sort of be able to sort of hash out how they wanted to phase that. I'm impressed with their efforts there. I mean, these are very safe compositions. There's nothing here that particularly sort of like stuns me or just goes, wow, I never heard this before, but so far he does it incredibly well. And that doesn't mean I think it's bad when I say that there's nothing that truly kind of floors me. I've just listened to a lot of music, you know. I think the most interesting part about this track is that bass synth, or that portamento and that bass, the smoothness of it. I like the occasional bits of English. It's interesting because I'm trying to figure out why that is. I'm trying to figure out why there's occasional bits of English. Is it Is he aware that he has fans that are English speakers that just want to kind of vibe to the music and are happy to go along with translations? Is that the point at this point? I'm just trying to sort of figure that out, you know? You can hear this really quiet, high-end sort of string part there that adds a glisten and a really pretty brightness to this track. You know, that technique there is a huge part of the genre. It's stylistically relevant to it. Which I think we're trying to incorporate sort of traditional sort of melodies from the part of the world that Leehom Wang's in, alongside the expectations of like like a Western audience there, like of having the wide vibratos and like you know, it's good. I think that there's a nice blend of these different ingredients there, which is really pleasant to listen to. He's a fantastic vocalist. The legato passages alongside the hidden chest voice control is fantastic. And there's a lot of variety to different vocal melodies and harmonies. Vocally, it's really intriguing. I'm not sure if he has his own sound. And it's tricky because with the R&B that I've heard a lot of sort of like the highlights of what Leehom Wang is doing. I'm curious as to what separates, and I say this respectfully, I don't think that he's unoriginal or anything like that. But at this point through this album, I'm thinking, what separates him from other musicians from his era? What makes him unique? Is it the style of music that he does? Are there tracks in here that really cement Leehom Wang as an artist? What is he doing to make himself easily identifiable to his audience? How much range is there in regards to the tonality and tonal diversity to this track? Like, how wild does it get, you know? But still, fantastic track, nice and palatable. I've got lyrics here. We're just going to quickly go through the chat here before we do that. I think the traditional Chinese percussion instrument at the end of the first song is a cymbal. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. I was just wondering because, you know, having done drums and everything like that, like I'm a drummer as well as a guitarist and everything like that. I'm trying to figure out, like, is it a specific type of cymbal or is it like a kind of a gong, like a little thing you clash together? Is it a bigger instrument? But it's absolutely a cymbal. Absolutely. He's American, so probably just habit. And he was growing up in the US. Oh. He was growing up in US. And the Blue Dinner Box says, so he grew up in the States, so he's got those influences there. Apparently a lot of the reason that people liked him is because he's attractive. Well, I mean, that's absolutely true. He is an attractive man, for sure. And I'm happy to say that. Okay. Okay. That's a salient point. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, alongside how attractive he is, what else is going to make this album special? Because we've had 2 tracks so far that have sounded great. I look forward to one track really taking me by surprise and going, wow, this is who he is. I'm going to remember this track, you know. But yeah, in the deep of the night, what makes the paper window so bright? It's not that you're waiting all through the night and have lit candles for merely. I can understand the romanticism in the candles. I can hear the Moogish synths or the Reeses or something like that. Whatever kind of wow, you know, that part there. I like that. I think that's dope, man. It's merely a chance to counter with that dream of the red chamber. My cup holds scenes of evil spirits. I've forgotten who I am. I'm not leaving until I'm drunk. So there's all this poetry, and he's just like, I'm not leaving until I'm drunk. I'm not leaving until I'm full of all this stuff, you know. Again, I think that the poetry is, oh my goodness, I got it. I totally got it. I knew it was an Uruhu. Cheers to Jacob for helping me out with that one. I've still got the list up here of all the instruments, you know? When emptiness became the only condition for possessing you, I was drunk again. The amber moon forms tears of frost. I remember these times. These translations are wild, dude. Like, that's really vivid poetry, but I'm having to do some, like, trigonometry in my head to figure out how to sort of, like, surmise them. What to surmise. So he talks about how, like, he's drained of color. So is this sort of to intimate that his life is kind of gray until he came across that flower bed, and everything seems more better when he's with that person? And the flower bed, a mistake made. Please forgive my disturbance. Am I feeling too much? And so he's realizing that maybe the strong feelings he has, despite the allure of that other flower bed, that he needs to be careful about the way he approaches that. Is that the kind of idea behind it? I don't know. You guys can let me know in the chat or in the comments. And I do appreciate you guys leaving comments on the videos. I have been replying to some comments recently now. I want to reply to more, you know. But there's not much R&B in Mandarin back in the days, except for Khalil Fong, David Tao, and Jay Chou. Well, that makes sense. Like, I understand that. So it's about finding people who also make the music you're into, and I think that's great, you know. But that was the track number 2 anyways. We've got a track number 3 now from Leehom Wang, The Mightiest Hero. So full disclosure as well, who are the other musicians featured? Who are the other musicians featured on track 3? Because I can see there's Leehom Wang as well as 2 others. So if you guys can let me know, that'd be great. I just couldn't find information on that. When I look on the the lyric sheet, it just says Leehom Wang, but I know there's more people involved because Spotify is saying so. Is that a guitar? Is that actually a guitar there? Or is this the really distorted space synth? It's a kind of eclectic, chaotic sort of motif. But that is an eclectic tone, that theme there coming in. It's very chaotic. The Mightiest Hero. The Mightiest Hero sounds like he's coming in to fuck shit up, to be honest, excuse the language. It sounds like there's going to be a battle or something like that between them. It's suddenly become there's a groove. I think this is the track I'm looking for. A lot of tracks that I know. Wow, my nose is so itchy today. It's driving me nuts. But I'm not allowed to do it on stream. I'm not allowed to sort of itch my nose. Hang on. There we go. That's better. My nose feels really weird now. So like what I like about this track is that he's not just going for that halftime feel that a lot of musicians who make this kind of music do. They'll go kick and snare and kick and snare, kick, snare. It's like double time or like normal time. And that's so much more charismatic. And with the theme coming in, you just maybe don't expect it to be sort of that intense, but then it kind of elevates it up a level with the percussion. And it's a very vibrant track so far. I'm enjoying the tone of it. Going halftime now. Great change of pace. So I think it's Jin. I think you've got Jin and Leehom. I mean, it's very creative. Like, I wasn't expecting this to go in this direction with the colorful, friendly piano sound with the older guy kind of talking over top. I mean, How did that come in? Is that's purely a contexting? I think if you understand the words, maybe then the reference makes more sense. And back into that chorus motif there with the kind of the neo soul kind of jazz wow wow wow, you know, the neo soul extensions there resolving with semitonal shifts. And the head voice parts are a nice contrast to the chest voice maintenance.
It feels good to be home. I got the skills to be known, so I'ma chill on my throne. Yes, I keep it blazing from Shanghai out to Beijing. Stop in Taiwan, back to Hong Kong, where they stay doing their thing. This is something special.
I like the fact that it's in English. It gives me one side of it. I'm obviously going to continue to go through the lyrics to figure out the rest, but I'm thankful. It's clear to me that Leehom is trying to approach a wider audience there, you know, people that maybe he grew up with or something like that, alongside people, you know, that sort of understand that. I'm not sure what language it's in, whether it's Mandarin or something like that, but I don't know whether it's Mandarin or Cantonese. I'm unsure about those differences there. I want you to sort of think about, right, from the perspective of someone not paying attention purely to the lyrics. Bum 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 bum. That bass theme there, and then the random clashy sort of cymbal parts, and the occasional kick bits, and how disconnected things would seem without the lyrics holding it together. That vocal performance. When I say that the vocals are the focal point of this track, that is an understatement. And the little clicks as well, like, you know, like they're fascinating textures and choices here from a compositional perspective, but they're so I just haven't really heard them much before. Maybe they're common more music from this part of R&B, but I'm not really sure about the I hate to interrupt the solo. I'm not really massively sure about the falsetto kind of vocal chops that are up the top there. They sound a little bit unusual to me, and I don't understand the context to them, so it's kind of confusing to me from a songwriting perspective. But you know, if there's a reason for them to be there, I'm sure you guys will let me know. Yeah. I like the guitar solo though. Like, I could not have expected this. I mean, like, just having that different texture there and an untended instrument there playing on top of blues and sort of pentatonic chunks there with the same backing without the fizzy pads in the mid-range. It's an unusual song. I like it because I think they tried to be a little bit less stringent on this genre restrictions. Is it a kind of semi-a cappella here with those vocal bits on the left and right sides? What I will say is that this is a fantastic example of you making the most of like real estate within like a 2 to 4 minute track. There's so much happened here, man. Several different rappers having their verse parts, a guitar solo, several different sort of theme introductions here, lots of hook lines. There's just so much going on. It's great. And then of course you had what Martin Wang is telling me here. The old vocal is the opera singing for the hero Jiang Yu. See, that's great. And what I've noticed as well, thank you to Paul7931 for this, is that we've had repeat references to the Beijing opera tunes. I actually think we've been very respectful towards those those other sort of elements there. I actually think this is an effective way of including them, because I think that it's very easy to just commit fully to the bit of doing a track within that style, but creatively crafting together elements from different genres to stick them together in a way that's coherent and stylistically appropriate and tonally appropriate is very difficult to do. So I think that with these operatic sort of textures, and they're working with the hip hop and sort of R&B kind of like drum kits, the basses, the synth lines, the strings, the sort of the plucky kind of bum bum, those pads there. It's a great effort on behalf of everyone involved. So I'm very happy with that so far. So yeah, I'm really glad to have been finally reviewing this album. But what have we got here? We got "Come On, Everybody Repeats After Me." "Here Comes the Mightiest Hero." "I'm so eager to see my future." "Here Comes the Mightiest Hero." "I'm so excited." "The World Is Your Stage." Oh, okay. So to add some Peking opera. So yeah, that's the opera that they were talking about. So the lyrics make sense, I heard another kung fu fight sounded. Cool. I mean, like, it sounds like it should be more aggressive than it is, and I kind of enjoy the fact that we're staying away from the harsher tones and distortions and such. Like we did we had that, of course. We did have some sort of gritty, sort of distorted parts there and a bit of edge to it, but it was never to the point where it was detrimental or took away from like the softness and the kind of the cool, sweet factor of a lot of Leehom stuff. So that's great. The Mightiest Warrior trying to incorporate Villa's elements into the hip hop. I'm kind of rooting for the dude. Great job to Leehom for that track there. 3 for 3. While I did enjoy the first one, probably have to say that this is my favorite, just because of how kind of unusual and kind of out of the ballpark it is with some elements there. But that's obviously like open to interpretation. I'm not saying that's the best one he's ever made, because I don't know the other tracks he's made, and hopefully we'll get to review other stuff from him too. But yeah, this is "Kiss Goodbye," track number 4, and we'll just finish out the rest of that one. And then we'll open other ones for "Kiss Goodbye." Oh, and we're going in a completely different direction with the pianos. Oh, yeah, fantastic choice of chord for the last one there, that little drop. A classic ballad style. Great addition of string textures to buff up that extension and triad. Very dynamic range to the recording as well. Not everything's the same loudness. Things are allowed to build. This has definitely got that Mando Pop aesthetic in it. It's definitely Mando Pop. Don't get me wrong, like, the rest of it is too to an extent, but this here. Sup, Dean Chan? Welcome. Glad to hear it's your favorite. I like the little bits of English there, "Kiss You Goodbye." He sings really well in both languages, and a little bit vibrato there at that loudness shows his skill as a singer. Yeah, the falsetto. The falsetto is fantastic. And I can understand why this would be a favorite. Oh, those backing vocals there are divine, dude. I'm really enjoying the sound of those, the texture of those, they're wonderful. And see, what's cool about this track is that we know that at this point, with the da 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 kind of swing groove on the piano, we've accepted the fact that we've had enough of the straight 4/4, and we need to kind of separate ourselves from that aesthetic a little bit, especially if we're going to stick with that piano focus here. So switching it up to a different groove as opposed to a different rhythm, or kind of doing 2 notes in one or whatever, makes it a bit more playful. It's like a little bit of extra energy injected into it. And the 8th note triplets within the 16th are solid. Great use of organ here to fill out that end part. I mean, like, I listen to this and I think, you know, for the most part, this is just as good as any of the stuff I've heard from like Jay Chou or other musicians who make similar music. I know it's kind of a dick move to compare Jay Chou to this, but because I think it's every musician should be judged on their own merits, I think, right? But I'll be honest, I haven't really heard a vocal run from that like that from Jay before. That's that was quite a little vocal run at the end from Leehom Wang, eh? Ah, excellent. Now that was really cool. How we just kind of went to a diminished chord on the piano at the end and went boom down to the low note. That's dope. That's cool. Sup spin to win. Glad you're able to catch it live. Yeah. Again, thank you to all of you who suggested which album we should do. This album won out by a slim margin. I'm happy to do more of Leehom Wang stuff. It just depends on how our schedule goes for this year. It's already looking like we'll be continuing album reviews into next year. I'm happy to do these on a weekly basis when we're not doing fan requests. Seems to keep people happy, and there's a lot of artists I've been meaning to review for a while and haven't gotten around to, so here we are. But that was track number 4. Yeah, apparently this is the one everyone likes. Well, I'm glad you like it, and I can understand why people like it. I think that the track is well written, well performed, very palatable. A lot of the elements here transcend a lot of different genres. Everyone likes a good ballad, you know, and I think that Leehom Wang smashes it. He's got a fantastic voice, great technique, and he really sounds great when he's with the piano, drums, those strings, etc. He had all the key elements there and nailed it. We got Baby Don't Cry, This Moment Is So Familiar. And it's obviously like a love song about like letting go of people. Tears of frustration cannot attempt outweigh my love. Don't bring my heart away with you. That is rough, you know. Every time I leave you, I'm completely defeated by you. It is my verse Leehom Wang review. I haven't really reviewed his stuff outside of the top 5, which I wouldn't recommend. I'm not actually a massive fan of the top 5 Spotifys that I used to do. I wasn't as focused on the music as I am now. I'm happy with these album reviews I've done this year for the most part, and I'm continuing to do them like this. I'd like to redo the top 5 Spotify. I'd like to redo all of them, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So I think that basically this track is about Leehom Wang realizing what this person means to him, how he's been affected by them, and realizing love is that value of that person in your life the moment that they're gone. That's what Kiss Goodbye is. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, so I'm unsurprised by the fact that it is so popular. I'm going to give that a like, primarily because I think that it was a well-written song. The story made sense, and we actually haven't had a lot of that in this album. I'm really thankful for that. I'm looking forward to what else Leehom Wang talks about because we haven't trodden too much on any specific topic at this point. Lots of different angles here. This is Wan Mei De Hu Dong. Excuse the pronunciation here. Rain. No, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna butcher the pronunciation further. But yeah. This one here, this fifth one, took a lot of time to find a translation for, if I'm totally honest with you. So let's just hear it through, hear what we think. Okay, let's go.
In the red corner, Miss Lim Jong-hee. And in the blue corner, Mr. Rain.
In the red corner, Miss Lim Jong-hee, and in the blue corner, Mr. Rain.
And I'm your MC for tonight.
It's like a boxing match, right?
Let's go.
The guitar focus is kind of dope, if I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's very busy. Off the bat with the bass, the twin guitar parts, and the vocals. Yeah, great head voice there. Different parts of the stereo field there. Pulls you backwards and forwards, keeps you entertained. There's constant conversation going on between those two guitars on the sides there. There's never a dull moment, man.
Here comes round two. Now your Rain, what you gotta say?
Korean? It's kind of dope that we got Korean and Chinese and Mandarin in the same track. I like that Korean was a bit more softly sung and spoken, and then we had like the rapping there to contrast the different vocal deliveries and textures of the different words and everything. The occasional turntablism there is kind of fun as well. I don't specifically know why we have put that there. I think it's just something that we did in the 2000s. We like to put turntables into stuff.
Listen to what I say. Don't fight for nothing important. Don't be left out. 다 함께 하는 거야. 더 좋은
Guys, listen to what I say. Don't fight for nothing important. Don't be a VIP left out.
미래를 위해 다 함께 외치는 거야.
I think that what's the lady's name? Miss Lim Jong-hee with her sort of clean vocals and the higher end there head voice there harmonizing over the top of them with the you know, it's the double track vocals, the overdubs, and the center field. There's great layering of those different vocal parts there. Going on top of that guitar motif that's just been played the whole time, you know, and it's very simple idea on the guitar that's just elevated by the vocals, and honestly, the minimalism of the percussion there, not sort of oversaturating it. And we're done. This seems like more of a track where they're celebrating the people who are involved in the collaboration. Just as a note, it's very, very rare that you get musicians thanking their labels for things. It's just not really something that's done. Usually with musicians, it's a little bit more subtle when they thank their labels. So I'm guessing that Wang Leehom must just be really happy in his position as an artist. You know, you know. The major labels in the 20th century, like, you know, the late 90s, etc., just across the 1900s, were not fantastic with bands that they worked with, but it's great that they managed to collaborate between different signed artists across different labels. I think that's really dope, and I think that it's something that we should celebrate, you know, those collaborations that aren't always particularly easy to do for many reasons, especially legal, you know. But no, well done. This was good. This was a solid track. I wasn't particularly elevated or like sort of blown away by it, but I can appreciate the musicality there, and yeah, good on him. Good on him. But we got the song titled "The Perfect Interaction." Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. In the red corner, Miss Lim Jeong-hee, and in the blue corner, Mr. Rain. Okay. Okay, so this is just about them sort of declaring how they are, you know. What you got to say, I'll show you what I've got. Meet my rules, it's time to be quiet. You're not interested, I don't believe it. I can feel depression, like sadness. Is that what they're going for? Or is the depression something else? Is it a mistranslation there? Okay. Take a moment for some shout outs. This joins some of Homeboy Productions. Okay, so I think this track, if I was to sort of like go over what I think it's about after reading the lyrics and considering the title as The Perfect Interaction, maybe it's about people like not getting along with each other, misunderstanding each other, and then eventually the girl's like, or the woman's like, hey, you know, you guys don't need to fight about this. It's not a big deal. And then they managed to make up and they managed to be good together and they sang together and just had a great time. The perfect interaction, right? Where things work out in the end. But we're halfway through the album at the moment. It's been an interesting ride so far. The highlights for me so far have been Kiss Goodbye. And I think that track number 3, the Mightiest Hero, was just great because there was just so much going on in it, you know. The track number 6, the lyric translation website is it's a bit rough, you know, it's a bit rough, but these I think these translations were done on the internet in like the mid-2000s, literally then. So a lot of the websites are still around, and that's the kind of situation we have. But track number 6, with lyrics here. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I'm curious about this. Is that Leehom Wang singing there? Or is that someone else? I mean, the guitar and piano is a nice combination there. Very kind of friendly melody, friendly sort of chemistry there. Drums nicely side-chained. Keep the groove going and without becoming overburdened. It's very peaceful. Yeah. It's very how do I say this without coming across like I'm being rude? It's very palatable. It's like comfort food. It's designed to kind of make you all snuggly and warm in a blanket. That's my interpretation of this music, you know. At least the song in particular, you know. I mean, it's great that it's easy to sing along to Blue Dinner Box. I mean, like the occasional organ runs and the brown, the kind of glissando, kind of wow, you know, that's a way to transition. You got eighth note tom fills going in between. Oh, raising up. Okay. Bridge interlude section. One thing that's kind of dope is the kind of awkwardness of the hi-hat hits. Dun dun dun. You know, the way they kind of stutter and stumble. The hi-hat hits, like the cymbal, that kind of sound there is not what I was expecting. And I kind of think that's so incredibly important. Because I listened to this. And I'm relaxed, dude. I reckon that you could like totally like, not that I think the music is boring, but I again, I know that when you say something but it makes it redundant. So let me rephrase it. I could very easily nap whilst listening to this music. It's so peaceful sounding, you know. Maybe not knowing the lyrics is a detriment in this situation because key change? I think that's the first one we've had in this album, isn't it? So this is his karaoke song, according to you guys, eh? One of the top karaoke songs. Da 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 bam ba ba da da bam. You know that ba 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 ba. It has a catchy little rhythm, and I think that's part of why it's so enjoyable to sing. 'Cause it's like, oh, it's peppy. I can roll along to this. It's not like a far less interesting one would have been da 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 dun da 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 dun. But he goes da 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 dun da 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 dun. Kind of catches you at the just before the end of the bar, you know. Occasional bell rides. La la la. I mean, this part's easy to sing along to. The la 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 la, you know. Great choice. I can imagine like a Leehom Wang concert, the crowd kind of singing along to this track, you know?
圈，缠绕所有对你的眷恋，那一种寸步不离的感觉，我知道就叫做永远。
Great. That was pleasant. Like the overall theme was warm and friendly and welcoming. The way the vocals were sung was nice and da 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 da. Had a kind of a joy about it. It's very there's a lot of range to these different tracks and the way we're going with these different interpretations. But thank you to Martin Wang for letting me know this is titled Big City, Small Love. I appreciate that because I wouldn't have known otherwise, because this particular translation has not communicated that to me. Some of the translations have the song title, some of them don't. This translation is especially interesting because you have all three of them at the same time. The dark hair is coiled in a circle, entwining all the love for you. That's a beautiful line. At last I found the end of all my wanderings, and your smile is the end of weariness. That's a beautiful line. All I can think about is you. All I can think about is you. Little love in a big city just for you. So I think this track is about someone realizing how much they've been searching for this person without realizing they were, and eventually coming to a point where that person means it's very special to them, and they understand what that love means. That's basically what this track is about. That's my understanding of it. So thank you again to Martin Wang and everyone else who's been helping me figure out what these tracks are today. The names of them is, again, the translations do not always tell me. This one, it does not. Track number 7. If I go up. Oh, the first morning. Never mind. Apparently this track 7 is the first morning in, so which is kind of nice. So we have track 6 where it's almost as if we have come to the night where we sleep together, and in the first morning, it's the start of a new life, right? Which is dope. Track number 7. I'm just glad I've been remembering to play each of the tracks, because sometimes I forget to play the end of them. Piano ballad. I do admit I like his less ballad-esque stuff, but I know that they're popular. I know. And there's nothing wrong with it being ballad-esque. Don't get me wrong. Again, the very kind of breathy performance from him vocally is fantastic because it indicates a dynamic range in the studio production there. It sounds like a very intimate live take, and the piano playing alongside it is competent and really interesting to listen to. Yeah, harmonies there. Great unison between those different takes. Okay, we're continuing without the drums here. We're really kind of wanting to fill it out, you know, with the piano, guitar, and vocals. Okay. Okay, that was charming. You know, I assumed that we're gonna have one extra instrument coming at this point, maybe the drums or the bass guitar or something. But let's play a game. I reckon that this is gonna have the drums come in a moment. That would make sense from what I've heard from other tracks within this genre. Seems like a good idea to have the drums come in next.
但梦还在，小心不让你醒过来。也许现在
Never mind. The strings are there.
未来是你让我想
No, never mind. I have been corrected. Good job, Leehom Wang. We're sticking to that guitar, piano, vocal focus there. That three-piece.
意外，这是爱。
I mean, there's a bass guitar in there as well. Nice filtering, getting rid of those sub-bass frequencies, which is good. Rolling around with a sort of like a, you know, repeated chord progression there to kind of keep things lofty.
再不愿放开，这是爱，给你的爱，没名字
That's the softest stuff I've heard all week, and I kind of dig that. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware just how nice it is to finish the week like this. I know I'm going to sleep well tonight after hearing this album. And I can understand and appreciate and respect why people like this kind of music, you know?
在忐忑里期待，却越中想
I feel so relaxed at the moment, man. It's wild. I'm kind of thankful to listen to Leehom
这
Wang.
就是爱，第一个我们的清晨，比任何默契都私密的，无限可能。
That falsetto is wonderful.
言语都像
Because we were like the vocals are the focal point there, and that's okay in a ballad like this where we don't kind of commit to the upper sort of intensity of the percussive elements there. But yeah, honestly, like I'm really impressed with how much real estate he's getting out of just those few elements there, continued and repeated.
太肤浅。
I mean, there's variations to the way he's playing those sort of flamenco parts.
这是爱，我们的爱，还不确定，却好实在。
I think we've listened to this track before, and if we haven't, I want to listen to it again.
静静地代替表白，再不愿放开。这是爱，给你的爱，没名字却停不下来。在忐忑里期待，却越总想到未来是你，我才明白，这就是爱。
Oh, fantastic. And finishing on that little performance there. It's a very intimate sounding track. You know, when I listen to an album, I go, okay, how does this track sequence into that one? And then that one, and that one. And in that sense, I feel a little bit of the way I do. I think I haven't listened to enough music within this genre. Because I think when I talk to people who are fans of this type of music, they don't find it as strange that there's more range and sort of like complexity to how am I describing this? I think I'm getting used to the fact that there's so much sort of like instrumental sort of like diversity, like the different makeups of the tracks within an album itself, because it's not like a band. It's like a musician who's working with producers or writing their own stuff. I'm not saying the Leehom isn't writing stuff or playing stuff, but what I mean is that like when you've got other musicians that if you're singing and you've got other musicians to sort of play stuff for you, etc., you've got unlimited possibilities. So it's no wonder that musicians like Leehom Wang and, you know, like Eason Chan and Jay Chow, you know, that they have lots of diversity with the instruments that perform in there, the different styles, etc. Because they can do that. Whereas like if you got like a rock band or a metal band or something like that, that's kind of the band that plays the instruments, and so you have that consistency of that tone that's kind of preferable in that situation. I always believe Leehom got better vocal technique than Jay. That it's up to debate, man. I don't know, honestly. Like I'm not sure who's better. It's for me. I wouldn't be able to tell. There's some parts that I've heard from Leehom today which are like, yeah, this sounds more technically complex or vocally complex than some of the stuff I've heard from Jay Chow. But then there's times where I've listened to Jay Chow and been blown away by how he does. I just think Jay pockets, especially in his later stuff, you know. But he also has the issues with the voice and everything like that, where, you know, it's kind of difficult to really compare the two, you know. Seaway says when to listen to Jay Chow's greatest works of art. I don't know, man. I don't know when I'm going to listen to that. I don't know. Like, we're a long way off reviewing that album. We are glacially getting to 8K subs, which is fine, because I stopped doing the Jay Chow album reviews because I wanted to have the 10K one to be the final album. Because I'm hoping at that point, by the time we get to 10K subs, I'll have an idea of what to do with the channel aside from what I'm doing. Which I think is good. I think people enjoy the reviews and stuff like that because people watch them. Or they at least watch the live streams. But yeah. So Teoria, I don't know. We did a video where we like watched it. We watched it when it came out. We did like a reaction review of it or something like that. But I don't know if I would listen to it on its own. I want to kind of save that for the 10K review. So yeah, whenever that happens. I've got a few ideas, but I don't want to talk about them now. I want to focus on this Leehom Wang album, but thank you for coming in. It's good to see you. Thank you to everyone who's been with this live stream so far. We're going to look at the lyrics for this track now. Light filters in, bleaching our dreams. I don't want you to wake up. Not now, and last night went by too fast. I do think that tracks 6 and 7 are intertwined. You know, him feeling so grateful for that person in track 6. Now the next morning. So that makes sense from an album structure perspective, you know. And this love I gave you has no name, but it's unstoppable. But you're still dreaming. I'm careful so as not to wake you up. Maybe now's the future of eternity. Our first mornings are more intimate than any other silent understanding. It has limitless potential. Limitless potential. That's kind of wild. Limitless potential. But yeah. Basically, here. I think that this is basically Leehom Wang continuing to be grateful for this person they've found, you know, and they're nervous about the future, but they're like, no, we're gonna have a go at this. It's gonna work. This is gonna be fantastic. He can't use words to describe it. The love is so deep. That's basically what I think track 7 is about. So hopefully I'm not wrong about that. But we got Bros next, which seems like a change of pace here from what we've had so far. We're going back to the hip hop aesthetic. I don't know, but we will find out. We'll just blow. They've got long endings on these tracks. Oh, that gave me a jump scare. That gave me a fright. The way it, boom, you know, that kind of snaps at you like that with that part there. And Bros, that took me by surprise, dude. I wasn't expecting it to come in like that because it was just quiet, you know. Bros.
Everybody come on, oh yeah.
Okay, so we've got a nice combination of various sort of vocal parts, some of them panned on the side, some in the center there. The drum grooves alongside the piano parts there, the keys, and then the bass line thumping up the root notes. Yep, going back to those rap elements. Is he double tracking those vocal parts to make them sound bigger? He is.
同一个团队等于多加倍的力气，希望在心里哥们一起创造奇迹，也不怕受伤，一次比一次坚强。盖一个圣堂，各自奔不同方向，自己就约定好要成功才像个样。飞到很放哥们的歌，记得怎么唱，要成为 leaders， 分十几亿个爱听歌的人挺腻了，你逼了我，让自己的耳朵变细致，押韵跟密室，尤其是连手写历史，我们越来越有气势。
I think the falsetto they come in smoothly after that verse part, and it makes sense as a transitory thing, not having it come in on the beat. You know, that's the thing you'll do when you go into a chorus to start the vocal parts beforehand to kind of bring the listener in. But it's kind of flat sounding in a sense. I don't know if there's like the dynamic range you had in previous tracks. Was this meant to be more of a bigger sort of single or something like that? No, I heard that. That was unexpected. That piano run there. That's kind of what I enjoy, is that when musicians are aware that the verse motif or the backing behind the rapping is kind of becoming a little bit too played out, so they add a little kind of bit of extra spice in there, you know. I think that's a great choice to insert that at that part there. It didn't necessarily try to sort of make its way to nestle into the rest of the elements. It wasn't a texture we're probably going to continue with. We're not. The organ is just kind of filling that blank now, but aside from that, you know. Huge bass tone though. The way they recorded that is fantastic. Whoever did that bass line needs a raise, you know.
Everybody come on, come on. Oh yeah. Everybody come on now.
The doing, kind of playful doing. And that fade out at the end was great. I don't know. Part of me's like, could you just not have had the doing, just kind of fade us out, just to have that there. It would have been kind of nice to have the doing, just as a fun little outro bit. Because the fade out in the outro is a thing has been done time and time again. We could have totally instead just had like everything else fade out, but that it'd be kind of like unexpected and fun. But that's okay. That's all right. We were, you know, we're at that 2-minute 51 part where I think we wanted a short single, and we had the Grr Bros kind of thing. It's cool. It's cool, man. It's fine. The organ, piano parts there alongside the bass, the drums, the kind of the groove and the focal point on the vocals and everything like that was palatable. I haven't really got any complaints about it. What is the difference between soul and R&B? Well, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know the difference between the two. I listened to it, and some stuff says it's soul, and some stuff says it's R&B. So we're going to Google. What is the difference between soul and R&B? Soul music is a combination of R&B, rhythm and blues, and gospel music, and began in the late 1950s. So R&B is rhythm and blues. So it's more of a focus on like the kind of darker stuff, you know, like the extensions there, the kind of the blues grooves of dun 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 dun, that kind of stuff there. Focus on the more rhythmic elements alongside the blues tonalities. But then you've basically got gospel music, which is like kind of the praise the Lord kind of stuff. And so that's soul. Soul is praise the Lord stuff and rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues is like a part of soul, but with soul is like an evolution of that, if that makes sense. R&B includes its use of gospel music devices, its greater emphasis on vocalists, and its merging of religious and secular themes. So yeah, definitely our soul music is more about the kind of like the higher power kind of stuff, religious elements there within that. So maybe it'd be better to call this R&B. I only say soul because I can hear some elements, like some instrumental elements from soul music. But I suppose if we discount the lack of the gospel stuff, within this, because I don't think we've had any sort of like religious connotations, which is fine. I mean, it's fine either way. You can be. I don't have an issue with people being religious. It's just we didn't have that, so it's definitely more R&B than soul music. It's just I heard like the organs and stuff like that, and they're a part of that kind of music though. That I hear soul organs more in soul than R&B. That's why I made that sort of like clarity. But we've fixed that now, so that's cool. We got Bros, and Spin Twin says the album he had before this was his real breakthrough. I think he had been on multiple record labels at this point in his career as well. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he was. Yeah, I know that he's done a few albums before this. It's why it was so difficult to pick one. In the end, I was just like, okay, I'll just let you guys pick. Because I don't know, I just couldn't pick an album. It was really hard. It's not like Omnipotent Youth Society where they have 2 albums and you just do the first one. He's got like 20 albums or something like that. He's prolific. But anyways, lyrics for this one. We've got singing a song about bros, never going to forget this moment. They're the hardest to come by. Okay, so this track is basically about being thankful for the close friends you have, your bros. Okay, that's cool. I think this is where we show the subjectivity of theme in relation to the style of music we have. I almost think that the organs and other elements are kind of like a play on the spirituality that comes with kinship, the relation, the support there that people often look at from above when they can't get it from their fellow men or women or whatever, I kind of think about that as well, We're equally matched, but we never play dirty, competing with you, learning with you like brothers from different bloodlines. That's great, But our friendship never changes. Each phone call saying, yo, a happy greeting to encourage us to keep going. It's, in exchange, we sing Chinese songs, but you still got to admit, only a portion of the people understand the beauty of our rambling, but everyone can understand us. The spirit we want to convey, that's to value you bros forever. To be fair, that's something I would not have gotten that sentiment from listening to this track. I'm glad that I had the translations. This is why I'm thankful to people who translate stuff into English, because otherwise I just wouldn't know. There are limitations to how much you can ascertain by listening to a track. Sometimes it's why I say this before, but I kind of envy people who can speak the languages of music that I can't speak. But then, like, music is written in so many different languages, so you'd have to learn all those albums and languages, and then, it takes years, right? But then it can be worth it if you listen to enough music within that, So it's fine. But anyways, that was Bros. I think we figured out that one. Excuse Me, track number 9. We've only got a few more to go. It is a shame that that's gotten so little plays. 140 seems like very little. Excuse me. This is very almost avant-garde, like experimental hip-hop, Oh, lyrics, right. I think that blah 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 melody alongside the percussive kind of focus is kind of dope. I like the odd textures in this. I like the fact that it doesn't sound like a lot of the more sort of structured pleasants to sort of absorb stuff we've had before. I remember at the beginning of this review asking if there was going to be a track which really took me by surprise. And I think this is one of them. The biggest thing I've learned today from Leehom Wang is how versatile he is. He can do the ballads and the big piano bits and do the rapping and the hip-hop stuff. But then he's got all these different other directions he wants to go in as well. And he manages to pretty much nail all of them. I know this melody. There's some sort of discordant, dissonant note choices going on here where he's singing, and they don't sound like they're in the same key signature as the instrumental backing, and I kind of adore that because it's so unusual. This is on another level in comparison to a lot of the stuff I've heard. I kind of like how unusual this is. I think this is really dope. Because if you look at those different elements of the composition individually, like trash can kind of dum, you know. It's what I mean is like the sound of someone hitting a trash can, not that it sounds like trash, okay? I'm talking about how some of those percussive bits sound like someone hitting a trash can. And that's a deliberate thing on their part, the clashiness of it, you know? I adore it. Wow. What a vibe, man. There's even some sort of early 2010s EDM elements here. Probably one of the most charismatic performances we've had so far from him. There's so much variation in the vocal melodies, the approaches, the emotional sort of the decisions he's making with how he communicates with the listener. And I just don't know how he manages to make it musical. I think that the fact I typically choose the tracks with the least amount of listens to really enjoy. And it's not on purpose. It turns out that way, you know? Like you could dissect this composition and tear apart the individual elements and kind of go, what is happening here? And remain confused for the rest of the day. Great. I want to talk about that point that we've got here. But first of all, and he do rock album later. I would like to hear Leehom Wang's rock album. I'd like to hear that. I've heard some guitar parts throughout this album. I think that'd be dope. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be awesome. I want to address that I find he has a much fuller voice than Chow. Jay's vocals can feel whiny and he has a higher register, while Wang has a more traditional male vocalist feel. That's an interesting take. You know, like I think that I agree that like I agree that with Jay's earlier albums, I think he was still finding his voice. I think he was still finding a range that he was comfortable in, where he wasn't overextending, and to his head voice where it just struggled. He just struggled in certain situations. He became a lot more confident in that mid range or that head voice later on. It's his like third, fourth, fifth, and sixth albums, but the first two were a little bit rough. And I'm not saying that because I thought he was a bad singer. It's just he was trying to get to notes that he couldn't necessarily reach cleanly. With Leehom Wang, I don't think there's been a single note that he's missed. I think that Leehom Wang's vocals are tremendous, and I think he's very comfortable within his vocal range. But I think the thing to remember here is that I haven't heard Leehom Wang's earlier stuff, so I don't know his journey. I don't know whether he's always been this good, or if he did initially had a similar situation where he tried to struggle to find his voice. I don't know. All I know is that I don't want to compare Jay Chou and Leehom Wang's vocals because, in the sense that I want to avoid it as much as I can, because I think they're two different musicians. I think part of what makes Jay Chou so successful is that his voice is different. Like, I can recognize Jay Chou's voice. I can recognize it, and not just because I've reviewed like 12 of his albums. I can recognize his voice when I listen to a recording. Leehom Wang, however, I don't know if Leehom's voice is as distinctive, partly because he is really competent. That fullness of the voice is tricky because you should think it's a benefit. But in actuality, I would argue that, and this is why record labels are doing talent shows. Have you guys ever wondered, like real talk, have you guys ever wondered why they do talent shows, like vocal shows, where they try to figure out who's got talent? The reason is because labels are desperate. They are desperate for musicians who are unique, because there are so many musicians out there who are talented. There are so many musicians out there who are great at writing songs. There are so many musicians out there who are wonderful and they're attractive. And the problem is, because of how oversaturated things are, we either know there are two types of candidates and musicians that labels are looking for. There's three. One is they still attractive musicians who are great musicians. They're obviously really, really popular, and there's a lot of hip hop rap artists in that genre now, especially with the focal point, you know. I think as well, the second thing that labels are looking for is someone who is just so much, just that higher kind of level of ridiculousness in regards to their virtuosity with their music, and often they do session writing and recording and production, but just someone who's ridiculously talented, like notoriously so. And this goes into Blue Dinner Box's part, where he talks about labels needing recognition over technicality. They need musicians who are famous because of their skill, because of what they can achieve. The final thing, and this is the reason why I think there's a lot of talent shows, especially in the mid-2000s, late 2010s, and even now, that they're being a little bit less kind of blatant about it, but labels nowadays need people with unique voices. And I think the point I was trying to get at, as someone who understands the industry innately, they're looking for a person who you can hear on the radio and immediately know who it is. You need to immediately know who it is. Like a musician like Adele, for example, you know, you hear her straight away. Ed Sheeran, pretty recognizable voice. You know, Justin Bieber even, you know, like this stuff where like I can be like, oh yeah, that's Justin Bieber, right? DJ Khaled, musicians like this, they have their own brands because of the voice and the way they communicate. It's why DJ Khaled goes DJ Khaled and has his own things, because it's less about being good anymore and more about being recognized. So yeah, that's basically it. So TLDR, what I was getting at is, I think Leehom Wang's a great vocalist, and there's not been a note out of place, and I've had less of an issue in this album than I have with Jay Chou's previous stuff. But I think that's actually a benefit to Jay Chou because of that uniqueness to his voice. It makes him stand out, and arguably it's led to his success. But anyways, we got lyrics for Excuse Me. These are the songs where I think that like Wang Leehom would probably find success with tracks like these nowadays in Western audiences, because it's just so unusual and so just kind of out there. Like music, especially for teens and teenage, you know, like they love this kind of stuff. It's all this kind of crazy stuff coming through, you know? But anyways, how many people are advancing? The road is too narrow, but it makes me compare with you. Okay. I'm happy to accept the challenge by borrowing Excuse Me. Seize the opportunity, work hard, bravely rise up. Excuse me. So is this about him sort of like saying, "Excuse me, pay attention to me. I'm worth the time. I am gonna get to where I need to be, etc." You know, looking for a chance to get out of the way and flash aside. Yeah, he's saying, "Excuse me, let me through. I'm the person that you should be paying attention to." That's basically what this track is about. I think the discordance and the chaos here is kind of why it works really well with the vocals, the unusual textures, the chaos within the composition of this ninth track. That's probably why it's my favorite. I think this is the most unique track I've heard today, and if I'm going to remember something from Leehom Wang, it's probably going to be this one. That is not to say that I think that the popular tracks are inferior, because they're not. The big ballads, the popular tracks that Leehom Wang has done are well written and well performed. But I just think that even at this point, not that the view counts would support it, because again, people wanted karaoke songs. They wanted songs that were going to be like ones that they could relate to, because everyone can relate to being in love. Everyone can relate to losing someone they love. This is why it is. And the fact that someone massively famous is struggling with love makes you feel better about yourself, because you're like, well, if they're struggling, then it's okay, because if they're that successful and still not finding love, no wonder it's hard for me. And people relate to it, you know? So I get it. I understand why these are successful. It's fine. It's a social thing. It's purely a social thing. It's not just that they're well played, because you could argue that any of these songs are well played or well sung. It's how they relate to the listener. But anyways, before we do that last song, I'm just going to go through the comments again. This effect is even more amplified in TikTok era, because the length of TikTok is so short, you have to be highly recognizable. Real talk. If I go to my Google Docs at the moment, I'm working on a big video that's just going over my thoughts about the industry in 2023. This is how much I've typed, so I've been busy, right? I won't say any more about it today, but I want to talk about stuff like, you know, all the TikTok stuff, etc. Because I feel like a lot of people need a sanity check, just because of how crazy the industry is at this point in time. I think that it's really important for people to sort of come down from how the expectations and the chaos, you know. But I completely agree. And Spin Twin says that was very well said. Thanks. You're totally welcome. I'm glad. Thank you for taking that well. I really want to sort of like communicate that I think that Leehom Wang is his own musician, and I'm really thankful to have listened to his music today. So thank you to everyone for kind of, you know, suggesting I listen to his album. Listen to the song. This isn't telling me what the song is, so I don't know what this track is. Track number 10. But we're gonna hear it anyways. Let's go. Last one for today. Very different to what we had previously. Massive vibe shift. I don't know if I like that, but I have to respect it, because there would have been some logic behind having such a massive shift in tone between these tracks in this album. Like, I know that it was like fashionable to do it, but still. Like, who is this singer in this song? Because an issue I have is that they aren't mentioned. They aren't mentioned in here. Like, I can't see any mention in like the song information or anything like that, which talks about who this lady singer is. It's interesting to have the lady vocalist come in to start. I like the fact that there's that shift to a different singer. I think that especially with the those synth sequences are something that's kind of fun to kind of absorb, and I wish there was more of them in this album.
有种无声的语言，叫我不退缩，要坚持着信念。
That vibrato, the wide vibrato, was fantastic.
经过都会被纪念，我想爱永远会留在你心间。每个人都拥有一个梦。
The that synth up the top, riffing off of the bass, sidetrack vocals, and that really busy kick drum is I don't know if I agree with that choice. I don't know why we had so many kicks. Why did we have so many kicks? Is it because he knew that if it had less kicks, it would have been too slow? I don't know, man.
相信是你会给我笑脸，让我感受有爱的原点，快乐的过有风有雨的岁月。希望分享现在所难免，都会经历漫长的严寒，让这一切在我们心中沉淀。
用旋律写着心情。
The Padley vocals of the backing here are gorgeous.
手牵手记录我们爱的和弦。
He's bringing in that that organ as a sub layer, and I kind of like it. I think this is a really pretty track to finish the album with.
用音符画一个圈，经过都会被纪念。我想爱永远会留在你心间。每个人都拥有一个梦，即使彼此不相同，能够与你分享，无论失败成功都会感动。爱。 依偎在心中，平凡而不平庸。世界就像迷宫，却又让我们此刻相逢。
I mean, like, aside from the kind of the freneticism of the piano, the percussive elements there, I think that the vocal harmonies here and the chorus are gorgeous. They're really friendly sounding, really pretty sounding tracks. I don't necessarily, when I think back on this album, I don't know how to connect it together. In regards to the themes, key change. Great sub drop there with the 808. He does the whoo, whoa. He makes that noise. It's interesting that he makes that noise. But that was fun. That was fun. That was a good track. It was nice and warm and fluffy, but it kind of also, I think maybe the power is in the vocals, you know. Maybe the power is in the vocals there. I feel a sense of emptiness listening to this album though at the same time. Like I'm wondering what do I take away from this album? But I'll talk about that in the conclusion that we'll be doing in a moment. I just kind of want to like have a look through the lyrics. When I open my eyes every day, I will remember everyone's smiling faces. I understand in my heart is a little more brave. If you cry, you can't see it. There will always be other joys in the future. Let time turn a new page. Your note. This is really rough in regards to the translation. I don't quite understand it. I think my love will always stay in the heart. Everyone has a dream I can share with you. So is it about celebrating music and the love that comes with the connection that we have, sharing that? Because if that's if they're talking about music bringing people together, that's a great way to end an album. If I'm not mistaken, you know, the idea of music kind of helping people to heal, to kind of go through stuff. Music is the one thing that I think brings us all together. I don't think I've met a single person who isn't interested in music. I think we're designed to enjoy music. We've got an innate sense of rhythm. Most of us do, anyways. And I feel as if we can sort of hold hands and do a little circle on that front, and kind of like value that with people. But I'm not sure what else to take from that. I think that the sound of the people doing like the double track into the vocals and the harmonies and the chorus sounded like the world. And people coming together to celebrate music. So yeah, that the lyrics made sense with the actual performance, and it was palatable, interesting to listen to. Before I go into the conclusion for this review, I'm going to check through the chat. In response, I think it's a pity for me that Wang Leehom was too eager to try different styles for music and didn't achieve the ultimate in his musical style during this period. I wonder how Leehom Wang would feel about that, because I feel as if Leehom Wang is not the kind of person to release stuff that he wasn't happy with. I would venture that maybe this is what he thought was his best at the time. It's an interesting thing, because I can understand. It's like if it continued doing the same music, he would have potentially perfected it. But as a reviewer, I'm not really sure what he could have done to improve it. For me, I think he's already a fantastic singer. His composition skills are good. There are very few bits where I was bored or uninterested, and some parts were so strange that it was actually enamoring. There were some tracks which were deliberately conservative, I think, in the way they were stuck together to make it more palatable to listeners who want a little bit less musical complexity, and that's fine. It's an interesting comment. Leehom prides himself on jumping between different genres, and he was trying to popularize his own style, and he said that he will have different versions of the same song. I firmly believe that track 9 is his own style. I have not heard music like that before. I really enjoyed it listening to track 9. Blue Dinnerbox says, this reminds me of Michael Jackson's Heal the World. Yes, I can kind of hear that. I think it's very difficult to compare the two, but I can nonetheless appreciate the connections between them. They did share different elements, a similar style of production, like composition, similar genre, similar way of doing the vocals. There's similarities between the two for sure. Paul7931 says, I think Wang Leehom is doing music with a sense of mission. I think he's really talented in R&B and hip hop, and I want to hear him do more of this type of music. I think he is too. I think that's absolutely fair, and it's okay for you to want him to do more of that kind of music. It's totally fine. I think with Leehom Wang, from my perspective, I think he nailed it. I think for him, the reason he's changed genre is because he feels that he's nailed it. And I think that the problem with doing music, especially at that level where he's signed to a major label, is that you can get burnt out by doing too much of the same thing. So I understand why he's trying to sort of separate. I get it. I also get why people want more of the stuff from him, Paul also says, this song is the anthem of Wang Leehom's Mainland China International Fans Association. Many fans of Wang Leehom wrote lyrics and gave it to Wang Leehom as a birthday gift. Well, that's fantastic. That's beautiful. See, that is a fantastic way to finish an album, is to celebrate and show gratitude for your fans and include them in your album. That's beautiful. That makes me very happy. because this is the conclusion of my review of this album, which, as I understand it, is Heroes of Earth. Heroes of Earth, the album. His 2005 album. What do I think this album was about? Well, it covered sort of traditional comparisons of like traditional sort of operatic themes of like the olden days and like sort of like operas and how they sort of compare to real life. There were songs about being thankful for the friends you have in your life, songs that were talked about relationships and such like that, not getting into trivial kind of fights with people, make way for me, you know, excuse me, make way for me as I'm awesome, togetherness with music. Lots of different themes here, lots of different things that Leehom Wang wanted to talk about. And I don't think that any of the themes were overplayed. I think that that's great because you have a wide range of topics here, and I think that he talked about what he wanted to speak about. It was good to have Leehom Wang as a focal point for most of these tracks. The lyrics were solid. And no matter what he approached, I think Leehom Wang nailed the vocals for them. He has incredible head and chest voice there. Great personality coming through in his rap parts as well. Like, it wasn't just that he could sing and rap well. He really went for it in certain bits. Like with Excuse Me and other tracks where like he was vivid. You know, like he was clearly passionate about what he was doing and he did not half-ass any of it. It's a wonderful effort on his part. I think that the way that he approached things with not only the vocals on his part and different vocal harmonies and melodies, he also allowed room for other musicians to come in. I thought it was really cool to hear like the Korean musicians come in with Leehom. The different languages kind of coming together was nice. It was different sounds and phonetic bits and everything like that. It was just pleasurable from like from an oral perspective, you know, there to hear those different sort of like words come together and kind of be a part of the same track. I think it was kind of a unique, kind of interesting thing. I like the fact there were lots of little like other sounds coming in there, little vocal chops occasionally, even if I didn't necessarily understand why they were there. I think that he gave it the best he could. And I think that it was really pleasant to listen to. And the last track there with the chance of like the other people kind of singing with him and him giving them room to sort of like do their thing on the sides was a smart move as well. So the vocals were done well. The tracks were typically about, 3 minutes to 4.5, 5 minutes. And I think that there were no tracks with any filler. There were no double choruses for the sake of double choruses. There were 2 tracks with key changes and they were nicely placed and I have no issues with them whatsoever. They weren't overplayed or overdone. There was lots of variety with lots of different instruments like drums, bass, guitar, synths, piano, string bits, different types of guitar. There was like, sort of overdriven, distorted parts with like sort of like nylon string flamenco guitar parts and like traditional steel string acoustics. The different bass parts there, rock and the root notes are kind of messing around a little bit in the mid range. There was some sort of synths or 808s coming in there for bass drops were cool too. The sounds in Excuse Me were things kind of like when a little bit unusual. And we had like different kind of like rough textures that kind of sound a little bit dissonant on their own, along with like the kind of the occasional awkward sort of like cymbal hits and stuff like that were kind of dope as well. There were fun sounds in there. And we didn't just do like piano ballads and string parts where like Leehom would just be those few like elements there. What I enjoyed is that he wasn't afraid to encourage kind of difficult sounds for people to kind of contest. I understand why tracks like Excuse Me have got less plays than like his bigger ones because they're a little bit less sort of traditional and they're a little bit less of what people are familiar with. But I think they're still just as good. Just as good. And I'm really happy with them, So I'm very thankful to, for Leehom Wang to have included those in them. I think that, the performances on different instruments, there's a lot of really sort of creative articulation to those piano bits, especially there, but nothing was ever overplayed. No instrument overstayed its welcome there. There was interesting bits of sort of like variation with the different panning of the different elements there. Some of them like kind of crescendo or come out there a little bit, they'll be panning from the left to right, so the automation in the studio, sort of processing part of it was great too. And I don't really think there was a note out of place there. There might have been bits I complained about individually, but at the end of this review, I don't particularly have any complaints about any of the compositional decisions here. from like an album structural perspective, I don't particularly understand why the tracks were done in this order. Like I can understand 6 and 7, 6 meeting the person and 7 being the morning after. And then 10 being the part where he's thanking his fans and like showing support and like the kind of fan club and everything like that. That makes sense to me. But I'm not really sure why the rest of the tracks are like that. But that's fine. I don't think there are any tracks that didn't need to be here. So it's cool. And you know, the studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering was solid. You know, like it was nicely leveled. You know, the recording of the vocals alongside the various, you know, other instrumental bits was great. You know, nice filtering, notching, EQ of the elements in there. Little bits of reverb and delay, tails occasionally with the vocals. Different positions of the vocals and other instruments there would go from the center to the sides and everything like that. So there was great sort of difference there. There was no point where the listener would become disinterested. There was less processing on sort of the more sort of acoustic tracks, like with the piano, strings, and vocals, like those ballad formats. But I think that in the tracks we had sort of more hip hop sort of iterations there, and the more unusual ones like the 9th track, we really played around with the expectations of the listener. And there were some tracks where we had like a person, like like a different person talking about like an opera or something like that, or introducing them. There were boxing ring parts. All sorts of really cool ideas put into this, you know. It was a creative album, and I think that despite not understanding the flow of the album, I can appreciate Leehom Wang's talent, his commitment. There is a lot of tonal diversity here, and I think that the only way this could have been improved is if like he'd made sense from the outset why he was the way he was. But I think, to be fair, at the start, that first track, you know, you get like kind of that sort of more sort of like easy to follow kind of theme there. And then at the end, he just goes absolutely, yeah, so it's 7 minutes. For a SB patron. Yeah, so basically just on that front, actually no, I'll go through the conclusion first. I just want to finish that. I'm nearly done anyways. We're done well today. We've made good progress, but yeah. There was nice one in stereo field, no weird resonance frequencies in the frequency spectrum there. And yeah, it was nice and loud without pumping with some dynamic range in some of the tracks there. It was just yeah, lots to appreciate there, and I think it's a professional album, great for its time there. A lot of albums from this period were overcompressed just because labels were trying to make really loud music and it didn't necessarily serve the listeners that well. But you know, just before I go, 7 minutes for SB Patreon reviews. That's a good question, but I don't really want to talk about it too much, so I'll make it quick. With the Patreon stuff, for a while, I've been meaning to get around with this. The 7 minutes for a Patreon video is like the limit for like the song length. And I've had some people sign up to the SP Patreon stuff and they've wanted songs longer than 7 minutes. Now that's been done so that like, if you sign up, you know before you sign up to the Patreon that the max length is 7 minutes. I like reviewing songs for people, but 7 minutes is a long time for a review, especially as I have like a limited amount of time at the moment, because I've taken on more work outside of the reviews and also the lesson work I'm doing. Like I'm working on studio production, stuff like that. So I can commit. There's like 16 slots for Patreon videos at the moment, and there's only like 2 remaining or something like that. But look, that's besides the point. Thank you to everyone who came to this Heroes of Earth album review, an album by Leehom Wang. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show Leehom Wang some love via the various social medias and his Spotify page. And stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SB live streams. I'm not sure what next week is. I want to do another album review, but I'll think about it. And yeah, Spiderhands out.